All right, looks like it is 6 o'clock, so I'd like to call this meeting to order, the Edgefield County Council here on March the 4th, 2025. We appreciate everybody being here tonight. We'll begin with the invocation led by Pastor George Garden at the Antioch Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please stand.
Let's pray. Father God, as we come before you tonight, we're just so thankful to be able to live in this great land. Lord, I thank you for the council members, Lord, that are here. Lord, I just pray that they continue to be able to work together, Lord, in a way that brings you honor and glory. Lord, I pray you continue to give them discernment, Lord, and clarity. Lord, I thank you for the position you've put them in. Lord, I pray that we as a community will continue to support them, Lord, as they have been elected officials. And Lord, I thank you for the job that they've been doing. Lord, I pray you continue to work through them in a way, Lord, that brings you honor and glory here in Edgefield County. Lord, I thank you for each one that's here, even David and those that lead. Lord, you can continue to give them guidance and understanding. Lord, I pray that through all this, Lord, that all the decisions that are made, Lord, that you will be honored and glorified through it all. For in Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I don't have any recommendations for council. Is there any change we need to make? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Talbot makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And Mr. Moody seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next, we move to a special recognition. This is our Employee of the Quarter, and I'm going to ask our administrator if he'll please go through that nomination.
Thank you. The nomination reads, Dear Employee Recognition Committee, I am writing to recommend Lakeisha Goss for Employee of the September 2024 quarter. She is a fantastic associate who is a huge asset to our office and fully deserves this award and recognition. First, she has built a working relationship with our veteran community based on trust and compassion. They know that her dedication and commitment to them will result in her doing everything she can to help them with whatever situation they may bring to her attention. She is truly an advocate for our veterans. Lakeisha was in a position where she was asked to do far more than she signed on for when I stepped into my role. She had to carry the weight of the office until I could catch up and learn my role. Her ability to step up when needed has led to the remarkable success the office has seen in recent months. Together, we have seen many veterans' lives change for the better, and that is all a result of her teamwork under pressure. Lakeisha is dependable and trustworthy, which is shown in her work. Personally, I know how much Lakeisha does in this office for our veterans, and that is why she deserves the recognition from her peers. I appreciate you considering Lakeisha Goss for this award. Daniel D. Tager.
All right, congratulations, Lakeisha. Would you please join us up front so we can have our picture made with you? You're good and tall. You're taller than us.
You want me over here? Yeah, I want you on that side. I tried not to be in the.
Just sit in the middle.
Everyone say cheese. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody. You're welcome. Thank you.
Sorry, I left my water. This last time I left my water.
You did.
Next, council is a guest speaker, Robert Benfield. He's been here before, the Director of Insurance Services, to make a presentation. So I'll call on him, please, to take the podium.
Mr. Chairman, Council, thank you so much for allowing me to join you guys again. Once again, I have phenomenal news for Edgefield County. I'm not quite sure how Leanne and you all's team do this, but we have 42 members, 42 counties in our workers' comp trust. You've been a valued member of ours for many, many years. Every year, we go through the losses for all 42 counties, and we evaluate them based on formulas that says, you're a county of X size, these many employees, you should have these many losses. It's called an experience modifier. If you had a number of losses you're supposed to have, we would take your workers' comp premium times 1. If you had worse losses than you're supposed to have, you get penalized for it. And in your case, you have continued from year to year to year to have less losses than you're supposed to have. So we get an award for the 3 counties in South Carolina that have the lowest experience modifier. Of our 42 counties, your county, Edgefield, has the lowest experience modifier of all 42 counties in South Carolina. Let me tell you why this is important. Number one, by having less losses, you are protecting the county's greatest asset, which is your people, your employees. So you do a phenomenal job of having less claims, less employees hurt, and that's the biggest thing that makes a difference to us. Number two, on the monetary side of the house, anything below a 1 means your county's saving money. It is my pleasure this year to let you all know that your experience modifier is a 0.66. You are 34% below where you were expected to be for losses. And we all know risk management is not a single person's job. Leanne does a fantastic job. But it takes a buy-in of every single department in the county to do this. And it takes the support from county council, from the administrator, from all you guys buying into the safety culture you have here. A lot of people talk about government and trying to save money and trying to find where waste and stuff is. Well, it's my pleasure tonight to tell you that through your savings and hard work, you saved the taxpayers of this county $140,000 by having an experience modifier that low. So through your hard work, you're saving lives, which is the most important thing, and you're saving your taxpayers a lot of money. So I'd like for everybody, if you would mind, give a hand to the employees of Edgefield County for their hard work. There are times I wonder if she's not sending in all the claims that she has. Or Sheriff, how you keep those suicidal deer from hitting your deputies. I'm not sure about this. But truly, from my heart, I've been doing this 27 years. You guys have a fantastic team here. You all work hard, and I love the culture you got. So thank you for your hard work and what you do. I would love to present this award to you all tonight.
Okay.
And you come up, please. And council, if you'd like to come get a picture of this.
We'd love to.
Well, some of us
Everyone's
might.
support to make this happen.
Everyone say cheese. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's support. You're so welcome. You do a great job. Thank you.
Look, I'm photo
You email it, if you'll email it, we'll post it on the website and stuff, so send me the pictures.
Okay.
Thank you all once again for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
We appreciate it. All right, council, next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We'll do these one at a time. First is the January 27th, 2025 intergovernmental meeting. Were there any questions or comments on those minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
And let's see, Councilmember
I did it.
Ireland made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And Dr. Kenyon seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. The next one is the February 4th, 2025 regular monthly meeting minutes. Is any questions or comments on those minutes, council? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the February 4th minutes?
So moved.
Mr. Moody makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And Dr. Kenyon seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next is comments from the public. For those who signed in, let me just say one thing. If you're here to talk about the public hearing matter, meaning the ordinance number 24-25-005, you don't want to speak during this time. You want to speak during the public hearing. If you didn't come to speak on the public hearing, then we'll go ahead and have you talk. So I think we had some people signed up, so just tell me if you want to speak now, or if your comments on that topic, on the land development, it needs to be in the public hearing. All right, so David Hare, you probably going to wait? Okay. And Fred Peterson, same thing. I think you're going to wait. Okay. So council, that's all who signed up for the public hearing. So we'll catch you two guys and anybody else who wants to speak on it in a moment. So with that, council, I'll close the public comment. Nobody else signed up, so I'll close the public comment period and move to reports. Any questions or comments on reports, council? Hearing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. Does anything need to be moved to new business? Hearing none from council, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Ireland makes the motion and Mr. Talbot seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next is the public hearing, and this is the consideration of approval of second reading of ordinance number 24-25-005, an ordinance to amend Chapter 24 Land Development of the Edgefield County Code of Ordinances to establish consistency with the recently adopted changes to the comprehensive plan to create a new zoning district classification and to provide the registration of said regulation of said district. So I'll open the public hearing and just ask you to please introduce yourself by your name and where you live, please. So it doesn't matter. You two guys are first, so I mean, you signed up, so either one of you wants to come up, you can.
Hey y'all, I'm David Hare, and live out in the country in Edgefield County. I'm actually on the planning commission. And I'm here to speak in favor of the rural and agricultural zoning district that we're bringing in front of y'all for tentative approval. When I hear the word zoning, I just negative connotations. You know, they're trying to tell me what I can and can't do on my own property. Well, I actually feel that this ordinance and this district is a way that we use that to protect the folks of Edgefield County and our agricultural resources and the natural beauty of Edgefield County. And the folks have wanted this for a long time, and I'm real pleased. And if I can, I just want to read that real quickly, the description and the actual zoning ordinance. The Rural Agricultural District. The RA District is established to protect, conserve, and encourage the retention of suitable areas for common farm and agricultural practices and similar non-farm uses, preserve open space, manage soil, water, air, game, and other natural resources and amenities, and discourage the creation or continuation of conditions which could detract from the function, operation, and appearance of areas to provide food supplies and to prevent or minimize conflicts between common farm practices and non-farm uses. This district seeks to sustain and protect the rural environment and the right of property owners to conduct owner-based entrepreneurial and agricultural-related businesses. I'm actually thrilled to have had a small part in bringing this before y'all. I think the folks of Edgefield County want this, and it protects the abundant agricultural resources and the natural beauty of this county. And with that, I just would like for y'all to approve this, and I think it's a good thing for the county. And it's a good stewardship item, I believe, for the county land in the future. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Fred, would you like to go ahead and go?
Good evening,
Good evening.
council. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with y'all. My issues are similar to the gentleman that just preceded me.
And I had a couple of questions. I don't know if you can give me any clarification on this, but I want to raise the question for being considered. Under the zoning districts, I think what this is saying is that it used to be residential agricultural development, and we're taking the word agriculture out of that classification. So it's strictly going to be residential development. Is my understanding of that accurate?
I'll turn to Doc.
So in the comprehensive plan, the RD district is our strict residential district. That's not the same thing as the RA that's being created. That's a different district. The
So-
rural development, the residential development district used to say rural agricultural development district. But in the comp plan, that got cleaned up in the comp plan to match all the charts and tables that were in the comp plan. The only thing that's changing in that is the title. The word agriculture is being removed because RD is not an agricultural district, it's a residential district.
Okay, so,
But none of the uses have changed, none of the setbacks have changed, none of the lot size requirements have changed. It's all the same. The only thing is we took agriculture out of it because it's not an agricultural district.
so what we're going to have now is residential development,
And rural
That's-
agriculture.
and that's going to be contained within a certain area, and then we're going to have rural residential development.
So we have rural residential, we have rural, residential development, and we have rural agriculture. So there's 3 different zoning districts. The rural agriculture, which is being created by this ordinance, does not exist anywhere on the map currently.
Right.
That will come after they create the zoning district. Currently, RD, which is residential development, is basically what you know of as the Meriwether area. Surrounding the Meriwether area and going up Highway 25 is where you will see RR, which is rural residential, which is almost like RD, except for it allows manufactured housing and the lot size requirement is a little bigger. So those are the key differences between RD and RR.
So the new category of rural agricultural
Is a-
district
Is a whole different
is going to
district.
encompass a certain quantity of
Yes,
land.
and that will come next. It's mostly District 2.
Okay, so does the map reflect any coloring that would?
It will
indicate this?
when I publish it
Okay.
publicly. So right now, to keep people from getting confused, we're doing this in 2 sections. We have the text amendment, which is what they're voting on now, and then we will bring the map amendment before the public, and everything will be released at that time. So they will have a further 3 readings when the map comes up for amendment.
Okay. I want to come back to the paragraph 3.
Okay?
But while we're on this up here, this new rural agricultural district that we're creating in the use map, I don't know if you have that.
In front of me, no, but go ahead, I wrote it.
Looking at what was sent out under the highlighted rural agricultural district, item 311 in the chart is food. And that is not going to be permitted.
So grocery stores, that's
okay?
correct.
And then the 312 is beverage and tobacco, and that's not going to be permitted,
Correct.
okay? And then starting at 44,512 and going down what shows up on that page, we have convenience stores, specialty stores, beer, wine, and liquor stores, health and personal care, and gasoline stations, which are all going to be permitted.
So the confusion you're having there is between primary and secondary use. So that table only affects primary use. So if you have a gas station and you have a beer license, that's different than having a establishment that is a bar for serving beer and alcohol. So a nightclub is not the same thing as, you know, a gas station that serves beer or wine. or sells beer and wine rather. And there's a difference between serving and selling as well.
And in this same category, because this, what's now RA, used to be the RR, also in that category.
So RR is not going away, just to clarify.
Right, but the classifications, the old classifications of RR, it appears now they have been listed under RA. So the same permitted and not permitted items are still permitted and not permitted. They're just under the rural agricultural district classification now.
No. So RR has its own list of classifications, and RA will have its own list of classifications. RR is not being replaced. RR is staying in place where it's at. RA will be on completely unzoned territory unless council chooses to, modify the existing map in some way.
Okay, well, maybe I can follow up with you a little later on that. Going back to paragraph 3, this wording that's going to be in here, I'd like to draw some attention to the third line down where it says, manage soil, water, and air. To what extent does that mean manage?
Okay.
And how it is going to interact and affect residential areas and the public that borders up to where this area might be?
So the primary management on our zoning district's part is the setbacks and the lot size requirements. Obviously, if you have anything that involves stormwater, you have anything that involves, endangered species, you have anything that involves, toxic spills or any of that sort of stuff, that all goes through South Carolina Department of Environment. Edgefield County does not have any of those departments, so that would still fall under what used to be DHEC and is now South Carolina Department of Environment. The only thing that we will be managing is lot size, setbacks, buffer yards, things of that nature.
Okay, well, everything is listed in a comma in this very long sentence. So we go from manage soil, water, and air. And then if we move through the rest of that down to where it says to prevent or minimize conflicts between common farm practices and non-farm uses. When you have a farm and you're growing a crop, most likely it's going to involve some herbicide and fertilizer and whatnot. And the application of those in the past, I live out in the Meriwether area next to the Costa Farms nursery, and we've had issues out there with them spraying their chemicals and the wind drift bringing it across into our properties. And I'm concerned about this wording. Is that going to increase the protection of the residents of the county from those types of activities?
So-
Under the wording that says manage?
Yes, if somebody does a non-agricultural use in that district, there are buffering requirements for them to put up buffer yards. So if somebody comes in and puts a commercial business in, for example, they will have to create a buffer yard between their business and said agricultural use or residential use.
Okay, I understand that, but,
Like I said, buffer yards, lot size, setbacks, dimensions of lots, those are all the things that we can control. If it falls currently under the Department of Environment, we have no say over it.
so under the Department of Environment, there used to be an exemption for agricultural activities, 70.
And there still is.
72.
For most of
302. So if we have a commercial entity running a commercial agricultural type activity, under that exemption, they are exempt from compliance with those regulations.
That is correct.
So how-
State law always trumps local law.
So how can the county council and the powers to be in Edgefield County ensure to the residents that in relationship, close relationship to those types of activities, that we can be assured that the application of the chemicals is not going to be done in a way that we're going to have wind drift that carries those chemicals off of their property and onto our property?
Edgefield County can only guarantee the things that are within their power to control. So if it exists under the umbrella of the Department of Environment, then all we can do is direct them to the Department of Environment. We have no authority to overrule the state.
All right. Thank you, I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
you.
Anyone else want to speak on this in this public hearing on this ordinance? Okay. Hearing none, then council, I will close the public hearing on ordinance number 24-25005 and move to the only item of old business, which is the exact item we've just been talking about. So I've just read this title. I won't read it again. So I'll ask the administrator on this is second reading of this ordinance. I'll ask the administrator or the assistant administrator for any updates or extra information we might need to know.
So you'll notice that it's slightly different than the first draft that you saw. We had our attorney look over it and he cleaned some of the language up, but there's no substantive changes as far as the actual ordinance goes. And all of the text amendment is still exactly the same of what you've already seen. The only thing that's different is he adjusted the ordinance itself. And just so you're aware, the two conditional use regulations that are being added are primarily for the new district. So, for example, pet care does not apply to every zoning district in the county. That is a conditional use that is specifically created for the RA district.
Okay. Questions or comments from council? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to give second reading to ordinance number 24-25005?
So moved.
Mr. Moody makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And Mr. Talbot seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next, council, is new business, and item 1 is consideration of approval of first reading of ordinance 24-25006, an ordinance to amend Chapter 46, Article 4, Article 4 of the Edgefield County Code of Ordinances regarding rehabilitated historic properties to transfer administrative authority from Preservation South Carolina Edgefield County Preservation Advisory Board to the Edgefield County Archives. This amendment streamlines the oversight of historic property rehabilitation by placing it under local administration through the Edgefield County Archives, allowing for more direct management of historic preservation efforts within the county. I'll ask the administrator if he'd like to give us a few details on this one, please.
Thank you. So County Council is familiar with the Bailey Bill, which is a tax treatment for the renovation of historic structures. It sets the tax value at the sale value that a person may purchase one of these oftentimes derelict buildings. And they may get the building at a good rate because it needs a lot of work. Well, this would freeze the tax value of improvements as they do this work. So the minor change to our ordinance is that the Edgefield County Preservation Advisory Board no longer meets regularly. That's why I can't remember the name. They haven't met since COVID, as I understand it. And they have been required to go out and do the evaluation of the property. As we have more and more properties wanting to participate in the Bailey Bill, we need to provide good customer service, and we need to move efficiently on these. So this ordinance simply allows the county archivist to do this evaluation and this approval in conjunction with a building official. And that would be one of our building inspectors, and it would be a team approach. We would be able to respond quickly to anyone who did a Bailey Bill application. And that's all this change is. Thank you.
So my one question is, and I think you just answered it, but to confirm, is that this change is only to who approves, not anything else in the ordinance?
That is correct.
Okay. Questions or comments from council?
And legally, we can have her do this.
Yes, with approval of this ordinance.
Okay.
And technically, she was a member of this organization before it stopped meeting. She wasn't in leadership, but she was a member of it.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to give first reading to ordinance number 24-25006?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Talbot makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And Ms. Ireland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next, council, under new business is number 2, consideration of approval to transfer $250,000 of plutonium fund interest to conduct maintenance repairs to county buildings that will be vacated by the sheriff's and magistrate's offices upon their move to the new law enforcement center, to replace the carpet in the library and agricultural building, and to replace fire alarms in the courthouse. Again, I'll ask the administrator if he'd like to walk us through this one, please.
Yes, thank you. As you're aware, 3 county buildings will soon be vacated with the sheriff's move and the magistrate's move to the new LEC. That is the magistrate's building, the sheriff's offices, and the courthouse annex, which is sort of coupled under management of the clerk of court with the courthouse. So each of these buildings underwent an inspection, and they all have varying levels of issues that need to be corrected, none more so than the courthouse annex. But I would like to read just a list so council will know what type of things that we might spend this money on. So a rear door to the annex, and our insurance provider has stated that this is required. They have stated over and over again that we need a second exit from this building. A replacement upstairs heating air unit for the annex, a replacement restroom floor. There's one restroom, and the floor is sinking along with fixtures. Those are all at the annex. Our county library, the exterior canopy needs to be refurbished. If you look at it, you'll see that there's a lot of peeling paint. The drainage system is not working on it. It's very unsightly, and we don't want it to become unsafe, so we want to rebuild that. You have to walk under it to get into the library. The magistrate's office needs new tile in both bathrooms. The tile's cracked and creates a tripping hazard, but the rest of that building is in pretty good shape. And then for the sheriff's office to be really usable, there were a couple of walls that were added probably after construction. They're non-load bearing. They need to be removed to open that area up. And this will essentially give us a great deal more office space. We have county offices that are just bursting at the seams and need additional office space and need additional parking space. So that's why we're recommending this. The last one is the Natural Resource Conservation Service occupies about 50% of our agricultural building. They are renewing the lease with us, and they have asked for new carpet and new paint, but they will reimburse us. We'll have to pay for the improvements up front, but we will be reimbursed for that. And that's all.
My one question is, of course, you didn't mention it there, but here we talk about the remaining funds be used toward the demolition of the old jail.
Yes, I'm happy to report that one of our heavy equipment operators with the Roads and Bridges Department walked around the facility with me, and he really believes that that's well within their power. If we rent the excavator for them to do that work to remove it. Now, there will be some contractual work on severing the electrical between the sheriff's office and the old jail, and probably severing water. But he felt like it was well within their abilities, which will save us a lot of money. It will essentially be equipment rental and some disposal cost. So I'm glad you brought that up.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the transfer of this $250,000 of plutonium fund interest money to take care of the maintenance, repairs, and demolition that we've been discussing?
So moved.
Mr. Moody makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And Ms. Ireland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Next is the consideration of approval to utilize remaining funds in the following accounts to replace our network servers and switch gears under our contract with Corsica at a cost of $87,188.51. You can see all the different categories there. There's 4 different accounts, and it says the remaining funds will come from professional services from our IT budget. So I'll ask the administrator for any explanation here, please.
Thank you. You may be wondering why there are so many disparate accounts that are not really related to IT. And what we have found as we've gone through many of our old accounts is that there were various grant monies and federal monies that were provided to the county for a purpose. The county did spend those monies on the intended purpose, and sometimes they were accounted to the general fund, which did not result in these accounts being depleted. But I can assure you that the purpose for which the money was assigned has been completed and the money was spent. This is simply an accounting error, and as we're cleaning up the books, we need to wipe out these old accounts. It just so happens that we have this very pressing need. I think council may remember we had an incident where one of our servers went out and it caused a great deal of dysfunction in county government, especially with the treasurer's office. So this simply gives us the ability to do what we needed to do anyway in this upcoming budget. Thank you.
Okay, questions or comments from council? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve utilizing these funds in the areas of which they have been discussed?
So moved.
Mr. Talbot makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Ireland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. The next piece of new business is consideration of approval to utilize remaining funds in the following accounts to purchase 2 county vehicles from state contract at a total cost of approximately $84,000. Again, you see the list of items there. I'll ask the administrator for the details on this one, please.
Thank you. This item is really related to the previous item, with the exception that 3 of these accounts are designated for this purpose. The vehicle equipment escrow, emergency management, and the equipment lease purchase fund are designated for vehicles. The other 2 accounts are accounts, again, the money was spent for the intended use and yet billed to general fund. So we need to clean these accounts out. This simply allows us to purchase 2 vehicles that we would have been asking for in this upcoming budget, and it saves us a little bit of money here to go ahead and do it. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from council? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve utilizing these funds that have been discussed to purchase 2 county vehicles?
So moved.
Mr. Moody makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Kenyon seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. So that ends the new business council. We're at the second public comment period, so I'll ask the clerk if anyone signed up for the second.
No, sir.
Okay, council, since no one has signed up for this public comment period, I will close that and move to report from county council members. Does any county council member have a report tonight?
Yes, sir. Got an update on the Sweetwater Park. Doc is in discussions right now with an electrician, Edgefield County-based electrician, to get some lights installed down there, or finish installing the lights down there. So that is being worked on, and they go off at 11 o'clock on a timer. So, yeah. So that's the update on that, and that should be completed. That part should be done after that project's done.
Okay, thank you.
I do.
Any other reports?
So, Chairman, Councilman Moody and I had a meeting at Town Hall last night in the Sweetwater area at Sweetwater Community Center, and we had a good turnout. I just want to thank everybody that came. We also had the sheriff and Senator Shane Massey and Representative Bill Hickson were there, and all 3 of them spoke as well. I'd like to thank David and Doc for being there to be on hand to answer questions and take comments as well. Thank y'all. So just wanted to mention that. On behalf of Vice Chairman Mr. Albert Talbot and I were at our COG meeting last week, I think it was? Last Monday. And so I always like to kind of try to bring y'all some information. So, and I thought this was relevant because we see people hosting job fairs, and I don't know, I always wonder too, you know, what kind of turnout and what's the result of these different job fairs. Well, COG co-hosted a job fair at Old Macedonia Church, and there were 24 vendors there on hand and 60 job seekers. Of those 60, 33 were offered positions. So I think that's pretty neat, just to know that these are reaching our citizens that, and we've heard William say before, the jobs, they're there for the people who want them. And so 33 people got offered a position. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I just wanted to share so you see COG is working and how it is working. And finally, for those of us who drive Martintown Road, woohoo, and we play zigzag with the potholes out there, I just want y'all to know that we do have some paving coming. And we will be looking at that either later this month or in April. And that's it was explained to me, it's very weather dependent as well. It needs to be above a certain temperature for so many days before they can do that. And so, of course, we all know the weather keeps ping-ponging with us right now. So hopefully it settles out and we'll get that done soon. And they will be doing a different method than they originally used on that road. We won't be using that in South Carolina anymore. So we'll be using something that should definitely last us, because for those of us who know, it seems like they just paved that road and here we are having to redo it again. So, but good news is they are coming, and hopefully soon. That's all.
Thank you. Any other reports from council members? Okay, thank you all for those. I'll turn to the county administrator for his report.
Thank you. So debris removal was completed on county roads this past Friday. I think most DOT roads were completed as well, but we actually rode all of the county roads and inspected them to confirm that that was true. Mulch continues to be removed from our debris site behind Generac. We hope that that is cleaned up really soon. We want to continue to encourage the public not to put more debris piles out. DOT has especially expressed concern that materials being put out with green needles, which means it clearly wasn't a result of Hurricane Helene, and they will not be picking that up. The county reimbursement process for Helene response and bridge replacement does appear to be moving smoothly, as is the reimbursement process for our other county expenses. I think we have a good FEMA manager. He seems to get us all the information we need, and that seems to be moving well. The dugout replacement due to Helene damage at Bettis Park is complete. As council may remember, we have 10 existing dugouts there, and every single one of them was ravaged by the storm, and they were in bad condition before that. So they are all brand new, just in time for baseball season. We've also installed the 2 new dugouts for the new baseball field and the bleacher pads. So the last items to complete the park project for the $800,000 Bettis Park appropriation is to order the bleachers for the new baseball field. And any remaining funds, there'll probably be several thousand, we'll use to replace toilets and sinks in the existing bathroom. They're in a state of disrepair, and we'll use our maintenance staff to do that. And there's a new climber, a new playground climber out there, and I've seen pictures of it. I hear it's really nice, but I haven't made it by myself. Hope to see it tomorrow. And the last thing I have, our recreation director sent me spring sports sign-up numbers. This spring we had baseball, 175, softball, 56, and soccer, 103. So we're still getting great participation in our recreational sports. So very happy about that, and we hope they continue to grow. That's all.
Okay,
I
thank you.
have one thing to add to the FEMA process with the bridges. Since we don't have an exact answer with FEMA on the amount or reward or reimbursement, the CTC chairman has counseled the upcoming CTC meeting until we get that information. So if we get it soon, then there'll be a called meeting. If not, it'll be at the next quarterly meeting. the reason being that we don't want to expend C funds until we know what we're going to do with the bridges. So if we know FEMA's going to cover the costs 100% and C funds is not going to have to cover those costs, then we'll go ahead and start a new project or something of that nature. But if we do, we want to make sure we reserve enough money to do the projects ourselves if we have to. So that's the only reason we're holding that meeting.
But Doc, how many, bridges throughout the county that need to be repaired or worked on? Do you know the number?
Well, that's a matter of opinion, but the ones that were damaged by Helene is 6. We do have 30 or so wooden bridges in the county. Obviously, if you were trying to drive a, dump truck over one or some other large vehicle, that would be very unwise. But they're all in relatively good shape. They've all passed their DOT inspections. So they're as good as a wooden bridge can be.
Okay.
But we have 5 that were totally destroyed and 1 that was damaged sufficiently enough to make a claim.
Okay.
We are looking at replacing them with a non-wooden structure.
Correct. Actually, building them back as wooden bridges would be more expensive than using a modular, modern free-span bridge. There may be some additional environmental costs because, we'll have to get DHEC to, approve any expansion in the width of the bridge because that will disturb more of the banks. But for the most part, yes, these bridges will become 2-lane modular bridges, which actually will save the county money, not only in terms of the upfront cost of putting them in, but they're actually a lot cheaper to maintain as well.
Okay. Thank you, Doc.
Other questions or comments from council? Okay, thank y'all. So for the chairman's comments, I just have 2 reminders for council and for the public. First, I want to remind everyone that the annual budget workshop will be held 1 week from tonight, March 11th, 6 p.m. This is the council's time to hear from the administrator on the proposed budget for next year, hear from department heads and elected officials, go through the budget page by page, and discuss any budget items. We won't have any votes that night. This workshop gives us a good foundation to begin making any changes and voting on the budget beginning in April. My second reminder is about the April meeting. Remember that we approved holding our regular April meeting at a later date because of spring break vacations and the Masters Golf Tournament. So that regular monthly meeting will be April 15th. And that's all my reminders. So council, there being no further business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Dr. Kenyon makes the motion, and I think Ms. Ireland seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, motion passes unanimously. Thank you all for coming.